Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Greetings and salutations, good people of the box. I have returned, yes. I have to tell you, the forces of the universe were definitely doing their best to keep me from returning, and maybe the forces of the universe are not fans of the Hard Rock Lunchbox. I mean, honestly, who could blame them at this point? But man, it has been quite the adventure to get back to this space right here. And I will be going through all of that in excruciating detail in just a few moments. But first, welcome back to the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube on Strangerhood TV, welcome to the Top 20. It is February 26th, 2026, which makes it 0226-2026. Yes. I'm sure that cosmically means pretty much absolutely nothing. So yes, everybody give it up for yourselves. We have made it. My goodness. I mean, can I just for a second... I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even really know where to begin. First of all, let me recap my journeys over the past couple of weeks. So I'm just checking my calendar. So from the 9th to the 13th of February. No. From the 9th... I forgot about this part, yeah. From the 9th to the 12th, that was Monday through Thursday, the second week of February, I was in New Bern, North Carolina, flying in and out of Raleigh-Durham. So that was phase one. And then from last Thursday, the 19th, until way late yesterday, which I was not supposed to be yesterday. It was actually supposed to be Tuesday, but we'll get to that. I was in Dallas. Technically, I was in Arlington, Texas, flying in and out of Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, which I now know a little bit better, the geography of that place. Like, I always like Twin City kind of things, like Minneapolis and St. Paul, and like Raleigh-Durham. Like, those Raleigh-Durham are two separate cities, and the Raleigh-Durham Airport is right in the middle of that. But Arlington is apparently the big-ass town or city that is in between Dallas and Fort Worth, which I thought was interesting since the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport is just outside the Arlington city limits. But that's where Arlington is. So you have Dallas, you have Fort Worth, and then you have Arlington right there. So I was in Arlington. We were visiting my middle kid out there. He has moved to Arlington. Him and his girlfriend live there, and it was a great trip to get to hang out with him. I miss Bubbles terribly, and Bubbles is my middle kid. Corey's his name. We call him Bubbles. That's his gamer tag. Yes, he is named after the Powerpuff Girls because he's just that guy. I've never actually met a more Bubbles like type person in my life than him. So that's where we were. So I guess. I mean, I think the overarching theme of both trips was the travel of it. I think that is the most interesting part. Well, I went to New Bern, North Carolina. It's where my company's headquarters is. Not the parent company, but the individual sub-company that I work for. That's where those headquarters are, and we were having some high-level meetings for a bunch of things, including integration. But also, our company, Rocket Sports, which is the big conglomerate that we're a part of, is the logistics company for the FIFA World Cup. We were a logistics company for the FIFA Club Cup, which was last year. But now we're a logistics company for the FIFA World Cup, which is happening, you might have heard, in North America. So that's Mexico, United States, and Canada. It is going to be the largest sporting event in the history of the universe, and we are the logistics company for it. So by far and away, like, we are now like the biggest logistics company for not only music and touring, but for sports in the world. So that's the company I work for, and we were having some high-level meetings for that, which was one of the main reasons I went down there. So that was good. That was fun. I will say, just in terms of the basics, I had some Domino's pizza while I was down there, which I have not had in about 25 years. And I'm happy to report it is just as bad as I remember. So I only had it because they brought it in for lunch one day, so I was starving. So I literally just had like the top of it, like the toppings of it, which were also not good. But it's really hard to get a good slice of pizza outside of New York. And it's fun because it's one of the few things that people kind of agree upon. I mean, you have some diehard people that like Chicago-style pizza and Detroit-style pizza, and I do like Detroit-style pizza. But even like our very own Jimmy G, he's partial towards the Chicago-style pizza because he grew up in Indiana, and that is basically his sphere of pizza influence. So like Jimmy and I will not ever agree on that, and that's fine. Like it really is just fine. But it really was something like I just the hair on the back of my neck always stands up when I'm outside of the country or outside of the outside of the state, outside of the city area. And people offer me pizza because it's really not pizza at all. Now, I will say, one of the things North Carolina is kind of famous for is barbecue. But North Carolina is a different kind of barbecue than Texas barbecue. And one of the people I work with at SOS is a transplant from Texas. And I had mentioned about getting barbecue in North Carolina. And they pointed out North Carolina barbecue sucks. But it's because they're from Texas. So we're not the only place that has like any sort of, regional preference here. But it was something. Let me start by saying that. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake the whole camera there. So I guess what we'll do is we'll just kind of go through some of my travel woes, right? So I guess we'll start with the North Carolina trip. So I set these things up like we set both these travels up to be like pretty good, like as good as we could possibly do them with planning, right? So, and of course, as you know, things don't always go as planned, and this is really no exception. So I will say of the two, of all the trips, the return home from Dallas, absolutely the worst experience I've ever had actually in air travel, but definitely the worst of both trips. So we'll start with the North Carolina one because that is actually an ongoing battle I'm dealing with, not so much for the airplanes but for the rental car, but I'll get into that. What do you think that is? Got a little fuzzy on my shirt. Can't have that. Okay, all better. So in the New York area, in the Long Island area, New York area in general, the New York City metro area has three major airports. For those of you listening around the country, we have Newark, which is in New Jersey. It's just on the other side of the river from Manhattan. It is one of the busiest airports in the world. There's something like a flight in and out of there every minute, and that's Jersey. Now we will take Newark. We will use Newark Airport if we absolutely have to. But I have been successfully able to not do that my entire life. I do know people that have flown in and out of Newark. It is possible to do, and you can take PATH trains into the city and then Long Island Railroad home and all that other stuff. But for the most part, I fly in and out of LaGuardia and or Kennedy Airport. Now, if I'm going by myself, I'll go Kennedy because what's really great about Kennedy Airport is the mass transit that you can take. You can take any Long Island Railroad. All Long Island Railroads lead to Jamaica Station, and at Jamaica Station there is a transfer you can do for the air train which takes you right to Kennedy. It's a great service. It means you only really need a ride from your closest Long Island Railroad, which is awesome. They were trying to do that very same thing for LaGuardia, and then they just kind of nixed it for stupid reasons, but we don't need to get into that now. So I flew in and out of Kennedy for my North Carolina trip, which was just fine. I flew in, I got my rental car. It was pretty much uneventful the whole way. Now what I do is I fly into Raleigh, and then I rent a car and I drive a 2-hour drive to New Bern, which is kind of a coastal city. It's on one of the harbors. It's literally like a 2-hour and 1 minute drive from the Raleigh airport. It is also one of the nicest rides I've ever done in my life, and I've done it consistently. I've been there maybe like 10, 12 times, and what it is, it's effectively one road. There's kind of like a slight merger, but it's effectively one road between the two. And there's only about 5 traffic lights the entire way when you kind of come into the city. I think it's either Greensboro or Goldsboro. It's one of the boroughs, right? But you're all highway driving until you get to this town. You got to kind of go through it. And the speed limit in North Carolina is like 75 miles an hour, so it's literally one of those situations where you just like put the cruise control on, put your feet up, and go. And then you have to do all the braking you need to do for Goldsboro, and then you get to North Carolina. So that was great. That was uneventful. Nothing but nice people down south, and that is true. Like, it really is. Like, the hospitality is just fantastic as soon as you get basically out of New York, and people are friendlier and all that other stuff. All the things you've heard about traveling down south are true, and that is true of Texas, and that is true of North Carolina. What is also true of both those places, and also true of whatever you do as soon as you get out of New York City, is that the service goes from quick to non-existent, ladies and gentlemen. I have to tell you, like, the simplest tasks, hours long. And I'll get into some of that, especially when it comes to getting a drink at a Texas wing bar. We'll get to that in just a minute. So everything goes kind of well. It's a little tough to be in meetings from start to finish all day long. Anybody that does meetings all day long, like, I actually like to work. I don't necessarily like to do meetings, so meetings just totally stress me out. But so there were very long days that I was there. I was traveling on Monday and I was traveling on Thursday with meetings on Tuesday and Wednesday, like start to finish. I will say I was away for my birthday, which kind of blew. But I want to, I had to do it anyway, and that's just what it was. My birthday happened to be on the Wednesday I was there, and that was whatever. So we celebrated when I got back, and that was fine. So all of that was uneventful, and I guess all the travel disruptions kind of started on the way home, on the way back from New Bern. So as soon as I pull out of the hotel in New Bern, I get to the first kind of the stoplight right by the hotel, and stoplight right by the hotel before I get on the Parkway, and a warning comes up on the car. I had rented some car, but they upped me to like a Chevy Blazer. Warning comes up on the car saying the charging system is not working, so to get it serviced. Now, the cars that I own personally do not have that thing where it just goes off at the light and then restarts. I don't like it. I absolutely hate it. And I will say the car I had in Texas had that too, but that they had an option to turn that off, which is awesome. The Chevy I was in did not, or at least I could not find it. So now, like I said, there's only 5 traffic lights that I really have to deal with before I get to the Raleigh airport, but now I'm super paranoid. I was going to stop along the way and get some food or whatever, but now I'm super paranoid to even shut off the car because I'll be too far away from the airport to effectively do anything. I should point out that my flight was scheduled for, I think I needed to be at the airport at 5, or maybe my flight was at 5 or something. I forget. My flight was whenever it was, but I had to leave the hotel early. I had late checkout and all that other stuff, but I left the hotel early because that was as late as I could check out. So I knew I was going to be spending a lot of time at the airport. That's why I was trying to stop before I got there, like maybe pick up some barbecue, even though I've heard it's bad. It's really not. It's just a different kind of barbecue. Very vinegar based, but that's not important. So now I'm driving, and now I'm super paranoid to stop. So even when I do get to these couple lights, I'm literally like pumping the brakes super slowly so the car doesn't shut off. So I do that the entire way up to the airport. Now, right outside the airport is a Sheetz. If you don't know what a Sheetz is, it's effectively like a nice Wawa, or maybe just a Wawa, but it's like, food and gas and all that other stuff, and good food. Like you can get good food there. So, but it's walking distance to the airport, so I felt comfortable to shut the car off there, and I'm happy to report that the car did turn back on as soon as I got out of Sheetz. But I did sit in the Sheetz parking lot for about 40 minutes because I had all this time to kill, so I went through some emails. I had a sandwich left over that I had brought with me, so I ate that, and I went to the bathroom a couple of times. I got rid of all my water, blah, 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 blah. So I get to Avis. I had rented a car from Avis. Not that I wanted to. I tend to be a budget guy, but Avis was the company that my company wanted me to use, so I did. So I used Avis, and I get there, and I drop the car off, and I take the bus to the airport, and I get to the airport. I think I'm 3 hours before my flight, or maybe 2.5 hours before my flight. And as soon as I get to my gate, my flight is delayed 2 hours. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to... First of all, I just ate a sandwich, so now I'm not even hungry enough to sit in one of the restaurants and pay for overpriced burgers and stuff like that. I also don't drink all that much anymore, so I couldn't even, like, sit at the bar and just, like, get hammered. It's just, I couldn't do it. I really cannot drink all that much. Plus, I had a business class seat on the flight, so I wanted to drink on the plane, so I was going to do that and get the free booze that way. I know it's petty and cheap, but like I feel like when I'm paying this much for air travel, like I might as well get whatever I possibly can out of it. So 2.5 hours late. I'm running whatever late. So we finally board, which is awesome. So I'm sitting in my seat, and Raleigh has a really long taxi. Like I don't know why that is. I think I'm spoiled by the Northeast airports where there's just not a lot of land, so there's not a lot of place to taxi to. It was nothing compared to the taxiing in Dallas-Fort Worth, but I'll get to that in a second. So I'm taxiing. So we're taxiing, finally going to LaGuardia, or back to JFK. And so we're taxiing, and all of a sudden I feel like the plane kind of turned off the taxi. And I'm like, I know just enough about air travel to know that that's probably not a good thing. So we taxi off, the pilot comes on and says... funny story. So JFK says that since we're running so late, they actually don't have room for us in their airspace to come in right now, so we have to wait like 25 minutes. So we actually just sat in the parking lot, basically, of the Raleigh-Durham Airport for like 25 minutes until we could take off. So now I'm just like, this is ridiculous. So I'm making my way through my book, by the way. I'm reading the new Dan Brown novel. Very good. It's not as good as Angels and Demons or the Da Vinci Code, but it's kind of close to the Da Vinci Code. But I haven't finished it yet, so I can't give a full review. So anyway, so we finally take off. Now, I'm so super late. Like, I was supposed to be at my house around 10 p.m. On that Thursday night. That was the plan, and it was fine, and I was going to be happy to do it. So we finally get to JFK. The flight is basically uneventful. I get on the air train. First of all, I want to point out, in North Carolina, it was in the 50s. I was driving with my window open. It was awesome. It was super awesome. But so I land, and I basically haul ass the air train to try and get to Jamaica Station so I can catch my train. I get to Jamaica Station 1-2 minutes after my train has left, which just totally sucks. Because now I got to wait 28 minutes for the next train, which is not horrible, and I really should complain less. But what was really bad is that I was on Jamaica Station, and it was back to about 15 degrees. Now, last time I had been outside, it was about 50 degrees. So now it's 15 degrees. I'm freezing my ass off. Like, I had packed my my hoodie, and my scarf, my hat, and my gloves in my bag, so at least I could put those on. So I'm putting those on, and I'm dressing up like Nanook of the North at this point, waiting for my train. So I finally get on my train. I finally get home. I finally get to my house. It is just before 1 a.m. So that sucked by a lot. And I was not mad, but I was like really disappointed because it really kind of threw my thing off because I had to get up for work the next day and do all that. And like, that was bad. But what really made it bad is all the extra charges I started getting from Avis all of a sudden. And unfortunately, it was billed into my company credit card, which means I have to address all of it because I have to put in an explanation for every single charge. So I get an initial charge for like $78. And I have to call them up and be like, what is this? And they said, like, there was an upgrade fee, which I did not know about, and it was like the gas fee, which I thought I had prepaid, but they said I didn't. I still have to go look into that now. That's how long I've been away. But what's really getting me in the ongoing story is I get another charge yesterday while I'm in Texas. No, 2 days ago while I'm in Texas for $13.78 from Avis, and I'm like, dude, what the hell, man? That was like 2 weeks ago. So I get to my computer, I get my laptop up, and I go to Avis and I try and find out what it is. And apparently there are toll charges. Now, I know about tolls in North Carolina. They have some statewide tolls, much like every other state, and I'm like, I went all tollless roads. Like, I knew that. I knew that going in. I know how to do that. And, of course, I put my Google Maps, avoid tolls, all that other stuff. So I'm getting all these, the triangle is the Raleigh-Durham area. It's called the Triangle. It's the Research Triangle. And so they have the Triangle Expressway. So I'm looking, I see 4 tolls on the Triangle Expressway. And then I start looking at the timestamp. And they're between 5:45 and like 6:30 on the night I returned the car. I was in the airport at that point, and I can prove it. So I was actually buying stuff at the gift shop to bring home for, Charlotte and stuff like that. And so now this is what I got to do today or tomorrow is I got to call Avis and be like, yo, man, you guys are charging me for tolls like after I even dropped off my car. Like, it is just absolutely bananas that this is what's going on, and it's completely fine, and there's almost nothing I can do about it, because all I can do is, like, chat with an AI, and they're like, well, this is what it says. So now I actually got to call somebody and try and convince them. So I'm thinking of just leaning into it and being like, I'm reporting this to my company's legal department, because this is effectively fraud. You're charging me for something when I didn't even have the vehicle. This is absolutely fraud, and it's certainly illegal. So it's basically credit card fraud. So I'm going to try and threaten them like that. But I haven't even gotten a chance to do that yet because I literally just got home. Now, I don't have time to go into the Texas thing, but don't worry. I have plenty of time. I have plenty of reason to talk about it next week because effectively what you need to know is that I had a 7 p.m. flight out of Dallas on Tuesday. I did not get home till about 10:30 last night. That was Wednesday. I had 6 delays, 1 cancellation, and 1 flight rebooking because Delta in Dallas can suck so many bags of whatever. And I have a lot to say about that. Suffice it to say that we're going to try and get the entire return leg of the trip completely comped because they just screwed us over. Excuse me. So badly. Ooh, that was terrible. So I have a lot to say about that, but I'm sorry I just burned through all my time today, and I'm sure nobody else wants to hear about all my travel stuff because I do have music to play for you, so I'm going to try and get to that. I'll catch up in the chat, and I'll just try and catch up on everything else as we go. Maybe I'll just drop some things, maybe I'll drop some teasers for next week as we go, because I really am still quite livid over what happened on our way back from Dallas. It'll be a fun story, I assure you. But yeah, let's get to some music. As always, we'll start with a local block because I think local bands and local and undersigned bands really deserve just as much attention as all the national acts. And one of our regular local bands here put out some new music this over a couple weeks ago, and I forgot to get it for you last time I was here, but don't worry, I got it this time. There's a brand new song from The Going Rate. If you like ska and rock and all other stuff, well, this will be perfect for you. The song is called Road to Nowhere, and that's how we're starting the box today, with The Going Rate.